gradual collapse. Considering the weather and the beer asking for us to come in, like beer, feature flags, beer. One for the team. Let's do feature flags, all right? Okay, so I think we are okay to kickstart as soon as the door closes, and we are good to go. Press the button there. All right, perfect. So my name is André Silva. I recently joined General Motors, and today with my colleague Lukas, we will be talking about feature flags. So Lukas, present yourself.
Yeah, so as André said, I'm Lukas. I'm working for Concentric. It's a German consultancy. I'm part of the OpenFeature technical committee, and I'm organizer of Cloud Native Münster Group.
Yeah, that's it. I forgot to mention that I'm also governance committee for OpenFeature, which is also something very recent. It happened in the last elections in February. So yeah, let's get cracking. So I know that you're developers. I'm a developer myself, but always face these problems. You start to rolling out a new feature, and then what is happening? The users in region A are seeing faster checkouts. What's happening? Users in region B are timing out. Again, what's going on? We don't know. Version B of pricing page is converting or is not. Our error rates are going up. What is going on? We don't know. We don't know. Please help. And then we come to the conclusion that most teams can tell you that the feature is on, but fewer can tell what is actually doing. So let me introduce this concept, which is the main concept of the project that we both work, which is called OpenFeature. And basically, what the feature flag does is it decouples the releases from the deploy, meaning you can have code going, and just when you enable something is when that feature is active to the user. So, and this behavior is powerful. Why? Because you can coordinate. You can say, I want to release only now. It's not the CI that decides that, geez, we're having a 1 hour build, so it's when the hour build finishes that is the one that we have the feature. No, you say, I want the feature now. And this is important because the marketing team wants to send an email at 9 a.m. tomorrow, but you can't, if I publish the build now. Anyway, feature flags help doing it. Also helps reduce risk because you control. It's not the pipeline that controls. It's you as a developer. And if you want, even give to more power to your product team, you can say, you know what? You product team can go there and can enable the flag, which gives an extra level of maturity to the feature flag to your team. And of course, last but not least, you can experiment. How many of you saw, I have this page in white. Yeah, but it's still in black on my. How many of you saw that? This is the famous A/B testing. And feature flagging allows us to do that. But they just multiply the things that your system can be doing in this specific time, correct? So back to the problem. What we will cover? We will cover OpenFeature. We will talk about OpenTelemetry because without OpenTelemetry, we wouldn't see what's going on. We will talk about the gap that currently exists between these two platforms, the way that we found out to wire them together, and then I will pass to Lukas, and Lukas will tell you, he will show the demo and talk about a little bit more each signal, how then you can correlate in your flag evaluation. So what is OpenFeature? Any of you use at the moment OpenFeature? I'm just out of curiosity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, not too bad. Actually, I was not expecting that much, to be fair. But it's good because we actually from even recent KubeCon back in Amsterdam, we found well, like actually KubeCon is amazing for us is when we discover who actually are using it. We found so many interesting use cases. So it's a very interesting project. So, but back to the OpenFeature. So OpenFeature is basically an agnostic open standard for feature flag evaluation, meaning you can plug in any provider that is compatible with OpenFeature SDK. I'm just showing 3, but there are many more at this stage and more coming. We have SDKs for multiple languages. Myself, for example, I'm the .NET guy, correct? Lucas, for example, is the JavaScript guy, and we have more and more people from Java, people from Rust, people from C++. So more and more languages are coming in. One thing that is very important is we have what is called hooks, and basically hooks are what allows us to have extra telemetry to the flags, because you will see what Lucas will show, and you can see how they connect. And then finally, I want to mention off-rep, because off-rep is the similar to OTLP, similar. It's kind of an abstraction. So if your provider is off-rep compatible, most likely you just have an endpoint and everything works magically, similar to OTLP. So now to OpenTelemetry, recent graduation. Congratulations to the team. It's literally a single SDK for traces, metrics, logs, and I think soon profiles as well. They start to introduce. It's like, I don't think I can do a resume. Everyone in the room already knows about it. And the idea is, a same mentality, vendor agnostic. You have your own providers. You do your magic, I would say, without having this problem. So now the gap. The problem is you have your flag evaluations happening, right? And then you have your observability happen. Out of the box, they don't really connect. They are literally two separate silos. If you have, like, for example, one team working in feature flags and another team working in observability, they don't really know what is happening. But the truth is, they both need each other when you want to do this kind of separate planned rollouts, when you want to do experimentation and so on. So you need to connect them. As a first attempt, came with a special interest group that we were actually both part of it, and it was to start aligning the semantic conventions for feature flags. This is not the entire list, it's just the most recommended one. So have a look. There are already works in progress to close the knot together. And next, I'm going to explain a little bit very quick how it does this work. So basically, you have your application. Then here lives the OpenFeature SDK. This doesn't work. And then you have the hooks that live on top of the SDK, correct? And at the same level, you have the provider. So this is all provided by the OpenFeature SDK and hooks. And then you see all the signals going to the SDK, then goes to your observability, and then you have notifications, meaning Slack, PagerDuty, pigeons, whatever. Pigeons are also a very reliable part, right? Meaning every flag evaluation. So when we do, provider A, give me flag popcorn, everything happens together and goes to OpenTelemetry. So you know exactly what it happens. And later, Lucas will showcase exactly how you can see these small signals in your traces, in your metrics. So just a small tidy up kind of thing. So how you should do with your feature flag? So basically create your feature flag, correct? And that basically is feature. Imagine you are asking, hey Claude, generate me feature A, correct? And then what happens is you put that new feature in under a feature flag, and that goes disabled by default to your instance. And then you activate, and then you start to see the signals coming in, and then you are like, oh man, this is broken. So you roll back, and we release a new bug fix, we deploy, we activate, we observe. Okay, that's good. Please do this, do cleanup, because then you can end up with a lot of flags, and then you can just say, look, feature is done, everyone is happy. The same happens if, for example, if you want to do A/B testing, you just roll one separated, and then this is the important part. You activate or half enable, and then you observe. The most important thing is you observe. Now I will pass to Lucas.
Okay, so yeah, we brought together a small demo app that we are going to show one of like 2 possible use cases for how you want to observe a feature flag. And for that, we built a system that is basically a fork of a system that we have in the project. It's a Nest.js API with a React frontend to use it. And also we have some shoppers that are built by K6. So we have some more people shopping in our shop that we will see in a second. And it uses the OpenFeature SDK. We have the OTel hooks in there that provide basically a one-line way to make the feature flags observable. I will show that in a second, which is, I think, one of the most important things to take of this. It's one line with OpenFeature to add OpenTelemetry. And this hook brings all these signal types into the OpenTelemetry SDK transparently, and then to whatever tooling you want to use. In this case, we chose for LGTM stack of Grafana, just because we can spin it up in one container. Okay, so hope that works now. It's the hardest part. Okay, so we talked about this shop. This shop is a shop to buy switches. What else should you buy for feature flag people? So you can go here. You can see we have a nice selection of switches available for you. As we are software people, we're going for a network switch, I guess. Yeah, and this is what we are using as a demo. So for this, we have this Grafana dashboard, and we split this demo into 2 things. First, we want to show you there's the option to show like technical impact or something. In this case, what we want to show is 2 things. We have a feature flag for using a distributed DB. Like our shop has problems with their database, and we started off with MySQL, I think. And yeah, want to try out if that's working well. And also afterwards, we want to switch to TLS because we didn't do that yet for some reason. Exactly. So let's start with this. We have to bring up. This. So to switch these flags, we are using FlagD. So FlagD is the only OpenFeature provided feature flagging system. And in this case, we are using just a file that we load from disk to enable that.
Just to point out, we are using FlagD because it's the open feature that we OpenFeature folks built. But if your company already use, let's say, LaunchDarkly, Go Feature Flag, it's the same. This is just in our demo because CNCF project.
Yes. So in this case, we feel very good. We probably wouldn't want to do it in real life, but we fully switch on the Postgres instead of the SQLite. So it was not MySQL. And now looking at this, at some point, the numbers should start to change. So we'll give it a second. Yeah. So here you can see what we can see here is that on the HTTP request latency, it goes up. So this is something we didn't expect. Probably something we should have a look in later, but we are kind of okay with that. What we can also see is here the amount of how often the use secure protocol flag is evaluated. So we can actually see how often our flag is even evaluated in our system. We can be interested in that, for example, to understand if a feature flag is still needed. So if there hasn't been any evaluation of a flag for 8 weeks, we should definitely have a look if that's still needed, because not cleaning up flags builds up much technical debt. Yeah, and also we can see that the usage of the distributed DB goes up. So yeah, we see that we have more latency, we have a distributed DB, so we might expect that, and we think that we're fine with this.
Yeah, ship it.
Ship it. But there's still a problem. We don't use TLS yet. So let's change that, because we need TLS. We're changing that. Flag D in this case is just seeing that the file has been changed, and we should get some more changes here. Let's see. So
now we should look into this one.
Yes,
Should
we can
start
see.
to
Hopefully in
swap.
a second we can see that this swaps. So we can already see that we have some evaluations that go to on, and we can see that before, every time we got like, or it evaluated to what?
You broke production.
Yes. So yeah, and so first everything has been evaluated to off. Now everything is evaluating to on. Another thing we can see is that suddenly we start to get 500s. So what's the problem? The good part is we expected to get 500s, and so we already have a table pre-filtered for those, which gives us the option to look into this. So what we see here is that we have the one of these traces, and that when we look into this, we might find some information on it. So let's first look into this one. Oh, and we have some span events in here. And actually what we can see is that there's this span event. So André talked about the OpenFeature or the feature flagging semantic conventions in OpenTelemetry. This is where we find them now. So we find that this trace has an event attached which has used distributed DB evaluated to true. So this is already good to know. Another thing that we see is that this time what we get is a use secure protocol set to on, which evaluates to true, which also gives us an error, and we're getting connection refused. So something seems to be off with this third database node, and probably something we will have to look later into and get back to our team. For now, we can just roll back and be safe again. So we go back.
And now the pigeons will stop coming.
And the dashboard should get fine again. But
yeah, starts already starting to flip.
So yeah, we can see the changing again. So we're back. We can go back into the drawing room, find out what's wrong, and later, once we feel we have fixed the problem, yeah, we can change back. But there are also other metrics that we can find out about. So it's also possible to track the business impact of our features with OpenFeature and OpenTelemetry. So in this case, we're using the OpenFeature tracking API to attach specific events for when an order has been created inside our system. And we are correlating this with the orders per minute per variant, order revenue per minute by variant, and then look at the average order value. What we do is, once we change the flag, the toggle shop will probably present us the option to get free shipping. So right now, when we go to the main page of the toggle shop, everything looks as we've seen last time. But we want to give half of our users, we want to present the free shipping. So how this works is that we can just decide on any fraction, and FlagD will provide some users, in this case like 50%, because they are the same number, with this new feature flag value. And if we're lucky, we are one of those users being presented free shipping. As we don't have sticky sessions, we might also be unlucky. So in this case, you see this time we wouldn't present it with it, we wouldn't be presented with it and don't get it. So this is something we wouldn't implement in real life. You would have to find out like how to make this sticky. Maybe if there's not a login by a cookie, otherwise you would use the user ID or something like that.
Just to add, if you are very curious about this feature, we have something called targeting. So you can target, say, oh, I want users from region. Imagine I want only the users in Germany to have, free shipping. You can start doing those tests and then expand. Let's say, no, I want the users in Germany and Austria, now all Europe. And oh, actually, we have more money coming in. Let's enable everywhere. Yes. So it's not just those numbers. You can always have targeting of the user context, correct?
Yes. So, oh, sorry. So now, maybe something changed. Yes, something changed. So what we can see here now is that the orders per variant, per minute by variant, show us that we are having way more orders when the free shipping is on. Maybe because people are fine then, because they don't have to pay shipping, and when they are not sure if they want to have the product or something like this. But also the revenue goes up. Something we can find out why. In this case, we are lucky and it worked, and our business is getting so much more money with this that free shipping is good for us. And also we can see that the average order value by variant goes up. So this is something that helps us really to also find out if our experiments works like business-wise. Just for completeness, we can also see here that we have these events attached. I think here, yes. So in here we can also see the events. In this case, we just chose to also use OpenTelemetry for doing the for doing the order received events. We couldn't have used anything else that we can correlate our OpenTelemetry with, but for us, we are OpenTelemetry native in our company, and it's the easiest way for us to build dashboards like this. And so we can see the correlation is done by correlating this event with this event on the span, and so we can build this kind of dashboard. To give you some impression of how this looks in code, I promised that it would be one line to add OpenTelemetry to OpenFeature. So this now is using the Nest.js SDK. It doesn't matter too much what's around. The important part is we are just adding one hook, and this is the span event hook. Inside, it's just getting the current span that's active. It's attaching the event to that. Doesn't matter for us. If you want to start getting observability into your feature flagging, in every language you can just, or in every language implemented, you can just go and add this hook with one line. I don't know, we didn't say it, like a hook basically is just a concept that has callback methods that are called before and after a feature flag has been evaluated. So this gives us the option to do things before, enrich context maybe even, and do things afterwards. So this is why it's so easy to do this. And then also, what I said is that we implemented tracking here. So OpenFeature gives you the option to implement a tracking method. Tracking in this case means that we can do arbitrary things. When we want to track business events, as said, in this case, we are just going and getting the active span and adding an event again. We are aware that span events are being deprecated, but still currently it's the easiest thing to do with the telemetry tooling. But the hooks that we implemented support everything. They support attaching attributes to the span, which is not recommended. They support the span events, which is currently the easiest to work with, but we also support the new encouraged way, which is adding lock events and correlating them over this. So to sum up, what we saw here is we changed use distributed DB to on, the read set Postgres, the P95 latency got up. We turned on the secure protocol, node 3 refuses for some reason, and we get 500s. Also, we can see that for the failing traces, we get this evaluation event on, and we can see what's wrong there. Also, from the business side, we are able to split 50-50 and correlate the things in our dashboard to see if orders, revenue, and AOV go up. Yeah, so by this, we have two events that we can just correlate with our native with our native telemetry tooling. So just as a short notice, as I just described, we support different signal types. So the first one is the one we just utilized. So we can use traces, we can attach the flag key and the variant as a span event. Then we can see exactly what happened during a span or when a span was active. Then we can correlate latency with flag values per request and debug individual requests depending on what the flag value was set to. This is the structured way of how it looks like then. The important part is this. We have a span event with a name, with the feature flag key and the variant, which is most times the most important stuff to know because this typically is what we want to look for. And yeah, so another thing we can do is we can create metrics. So to aggregate something, to get one number, to show something like the P95 latency per variant per region. We can even also retroactively generate them from our span events. We can see, or we can do things like finding out broken error. We can find out the error rates by a flag value. And yeah, we can just do very nice dashboards and alerts by this. If one of the metric goes up, we can do that. This is how this can look like. We attach these labels to the metric, and so we can just correlate on them later. And also there's logs, what I just said. As I said, currently we are using span events, which are being deprecated, but currently it's harder to do it with the other tooling. So what we still implemented is the log events. Log events are just a stream of continuous things happening. They are the events being implemented by OpenTelemetry, so they are structured with flag context. The correlation still happens via trace ID and span IDs. They are useful for auditing or for finding out, or later when the tooling really supports this better, we can also do the same as we do with the span events there. And this is how something like this can look like. So we tried to get from it's live, we just deployed this feature to here's the impact of the feature that we just deployed. So what can we do? We can answer questions like what's the P95 latency for a variant? We can answer, is the new checkout increasing the error rates? We can answer which flag caused the latency spike at a specific point, because sometimes we have multiple flags on. It can be really, really complex to find all that out. Also, yeah, for example, the new distributed DB, are people dropping off? And something important that's often forgotten is that we can answer business questions like, are people getting screen A buying more than people getting presented screen B? So yeah, we went from the flag is on to the impact of it is measurable. That's it. Thanks.
Questions? Sheesh.
Thanks for the talk. Is the code publicly accessible for this demo, like and the K6 load testing?
We will make it accessible. We forgot about this, to be honest.
Thank you.
But we will add it to the slides then. So when we upload the slides, there will be a QR code with the link.
2 questions.
Which languages have that implementation in already? Like which SDKs?
So I can say that .NET has this,
Okay.
JS has, Java
Java has.
has,
Okay.
Go might have.
Yes, and for the others, I'm not sure.
The second question is like, do you have like for Vercel, do you have like that support as well or not?
Vercel?
So it would be JavaScript then, isn't it?
Just JavaScript?
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Yeah, it just is actually.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you.
Oh, another one. I want to go for the points.
So those the feature flags would you those mostly use for only for temporary things, or when you transition before you evaluate to add a new feature, or would you?
So there is a nice blog from Martin Fowler about feature flags, and what he does is separating feature flags into like 4 main domains you can use them for. And what most people first think about is is release flags. So that's exactly what you just described. You build you use a flag to gradually roll out something. But there's also things like flags that you can use for operations, for example, for fallback during operation. When you see for some reason that traffic goes up, you can circuit break with that if you want, stuff like this. This is what he calls operational flags. There's also a thing called permission flags, which is very much debated about if you should do that or not. So you can just actually do your RBAC over that, for example, if you want. And
Similar to roles.
yeah. And there's a fourth one, yeah, the experiment flags, where you really do the A/B testing and probably will throw it out afterwards. So if you're interested, that blog is recommendable.
Yeah,
Just look for Martin Fowler feature flags.
Yeah, and actually, that the person that helped writing is part of the
Yes.
governance committee for OpenFeature. So,
Yeah.
Any more questions? I can take one more. If anyone has any.